And I'm sure, you know what, he can speak for himself, so I'm just gonna pass the mic.
Free Palestine! Ladies and gentlemen, I know this museum very well. I know the museum much better than the people who are defending it now, and I probably know it better than the people who just got hired to work at this museum. That place right there, that window is where the special members entrance is. But way before I became a member of this museum, I learned to speak English here. When I first came to this country, I used to have a small accent as a little kid. It wasn't a big accent, it was just a little accent, right? But my father told me something really heartbreaking to me as we walked through this museum. He said, don't forget, my son, one day you can tell people the truth, but because you don't have the right accent, they won't be able to hear what you say. You can tell people the right answer to a question, but because your name doesn't have the word doctor in front of it, they won't listen to you, even though you have the right answer and the other people don't. I used to say the names of dinosaurs and pronounce them in this museum so I would learn to speak English correctly in a way that people would say, oh, he speaks so well. And yet I was haunted by that my whole life. When people said, oh, you speak so well. Oh, you have no accent, as if that made me smarter or stupider in one way or another. But one thing I did notice in this museum time and time again is that there were things that were not given to them, but they were things that were stolen from them. Now, you see there are people who have served this country, and imagine if somebody went to the grave somewhere in Washington, D.C., and just ripped out the soldiers from World War II and put their bones on display somewhere so your children could be laughing at them. There would be protests in this country, and yet this museum holds over 12,000 human remains, and they were perfectly fine with it before you. I just want to remind the people, there is no question there is not an answer to. Do you understand? Do you remember that guy when they were harassing the halal vendor? He kept threatening his life. Oh, you know, right? Let me tell you something. The police were told about that 17 times. And they said there's nothing we can do about it. They said there's nothing we can do about it because it's freedom of speech. But when the voice of the people became loud enough, then someone called the district attorney, who is the boss of the people who are standing there, who is the general of the soldiers that are on the front line here, right, who send them out on a dummy mission. And he said, no, there is something we can do about it. So just remember, there's never nothing that anyone can do about something. There's always something that they can do about it, but they're not motivated to do it unless you and me stand up and say, you better get this shit done now. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of beautiful things in this museum. There are a lot of educational things in this museum. This museum will teach you the difference between science and religion. You know what it says? It says that religion requires you to believe in it to be true, and science doesn't care. Oh, you don't believe in gravity? Throw yourself off a building. See if you don't fall. But he said, listen, science can't teach you morals. It doesn't tell you the where, why, when, but it doesn't tell you the should we invent a nuclear weapon. And these questions are the questions that the people deserve to answer, right? Do we deserve to have an occupation? For 75 fucking years, ladies and gentlemen! This didn't start on October 7th, ladies and gentlemen. It started 75 years ago. And ladies and gentlemen, we have never been natural enemies. Muslims, Arab people have never been natural enemies of the Jewish people. The Jewish people are a beautiful people, but it is a political ideology we know as Zionism, which is and always remember and listen to the elders. Listen to the elders that come from Palestine, that are Jewish, that are Palestinian, that are Christian, that are Muslim, and they will tell you stories. Oh, they didn't live in perfect peace, but they lived in relative peace more than they have now. Yeah. And you can't deny that history. Yeah. Zionism was created as a way to answer European anti-Semitism because they were persecuted in Europe non-stop. And the best way to solve two problems is to put them together and let them solve each other. And now, you see the EU and the United States using Israel on the front line to get it done what it can't do. The United States can't bomb Syria whenever it wants to, so it sends Israel to do that. The United States just can't bomb Iraq whenever it wants to, but it sends Israel to do that. And don't forget, when we were in a war with Iran and Iraq, the United States supported Iraq, but it knew that Israel would destroy its nuclear reactor. So don't forget, we're America. We only kill our friends. So if you're in this crowd and you secretly support Israel, just remember something. The United States doesn't care about Israel. It's using it so it can try to destroy Iran and weaken the alliance with China and Russia. You're being used as a pawn in a political game. Let me just say this because there's so many cameras and I'll stop right here. Let's be very clear. The United States can't protect Israel the way it pretends to.
No, they can't.
It can sell it weapons to kill people and kill innocent children, but it can't stop missiles and bombs from dropping on it. Because you know what that would take? That would take the United States of America reaching out to Russia and China, because the United States used to have a lot of support after 9/11. Remember? Everyone said, oh my God, that's terrible. And when people compare October 7th to 9/11, I say, sure, you had all the sympathy in the world afterwards, and look what you did with it. You killed millions of innocent people, and now nobody trusts you, nobody wants to be in business with you, and now the United States can't go to any country in the world. I love you guys, I appreciate you. One time say it, free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
How do you feel on your dummy mission blocking a freaking museum because we want to educate ourselves? You guys
Bozos!
The same people, the same banks that are funding Israel's biggest weapons manufacturers that are killing Palestinians, they're the same banks that are funding this museum. Because they want to fund the companies that kill our people and then fund the museums who are going to rewrite history and lie about it. It's all part of the same company. And so it's important to resist Zionism everywhere we see it. And we'll be back, whether the pigs are here or not, we'll be back and we'll be back. And if you're gonna shut it down every time we call for a protest or a tour over here, you're gonna have to lose millions and millions and millions of dollars. You make $1 million a day, and we're gonna keep calling for tours and protests of this museum until we get inside.
As loud as you guys can be in one full phrase, NYPD, KKK, IDF, they're all the same. 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 NYPD, KKK, IDF.
We're going to be having Salatul Maghrib right over here in front of the museum. We're going to be loud, we're going to be clear, they're going to see us in every way possible. So everyone that is going to be praying, please come to this area. Everyone that isn't, you are welcome to join us on the side. So please clear up this area for Salah as we do the call for prayer.